Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Sriram V here. I am from the tech advisor team of HCL Orchestration Suite, uh, which also comprises of Universal Orchestrator, which is the subject of the video today. So, this is the HCL Universal Orchestrator console that you're looking at the screen currently. What we're going to look at today is a use case from the banking industry. So we're looking at an external vendor file transfer scenario in a bank using AWS. So this is the kind of scenario that we are looking at. We have an external file coming from a third party, and then this file is being uploaded into an AWS S3 dirty bucket. We have a subsequent job uh, that's going to um, also download this file from the S3 bucket, and it's we're going to also upload antivirus definitions into a definitions bucket. Now this AV definitions job again is a product that's available for as an antivirus within AWS. And then we have another job which is going to call an AWS Lambda function, which is going to scan the external file using AV. And in case there are any issues found with the external file, then we're going to have an AWS SNS notification sent out via email, SMS, or Teams. And in case the scan comes out clean, we're going to have another AWS SNS notification sent out over email, SMS, or Teams, notifying that the scan was complete without any issues. And in case the scan comes out clean, we are also going to have an upload job that is going to upload into the in progress bucket. And subsequently, there's going to be another job that is going to upload into the completed bucket, um, followed by another job that is going to decompress the file. And then finally, to round it off, another job that would decrypt the file. So the whole process is going to be realized within the Universal Orchestrator. Um, so if I'm to realize this particular flow in Universal Orchestrator, this is how the flow is going to look like. So I'm going to switch to the graphical view, which allows me to go through the full flow. So this is how it would look like once it is built. We have an AWS S3 upload job, which uploads the file to the dirty bucket. So this is the incoming file from the external vendor that's uploaded to the dirty bucket. There is a subsequent AWS download job that is going to download from the dirty bucket. And there's going to be another job that is again going to do an AWS S3 upload action into an in progress bucket. So this is kind of an intermediate bucket. Um, and then we have another job that is going to upload the AV definitions into a definitions bucket. And once the new antivirus definitions are uploaded to the definitions bucket, we are also going to run an AWS Lambda function, which is going to scan the file completely. And if the scan comes out clean without any issues, we are going to notify over an AWS SNS service that the scan was complete without any issues. And in case the scan found some issues in the file, we're again going to notify through an AWS SNS service. So we have some conditional branching here. And also we have an AWS download in progress bucket job that's going to download from the in progress bucket, and followed by a subsequent job that is going to upload into the completed bucket. And we're also going to have another job that is going to download from the completed bucket once all the scanning is complete and the file is clean, to finally decompress the file. And so we have an out of box job type for decompression, followed by another job that is going to decrypt the file. So irrespective of the encryption scheme involved, we have a out of box decryption job type available as well. So let me go ahead and in fact run the scenario from Universal Orchestrator. So what you would notice here is once we submit this flow, we're going to have it showing running here. The one interesting thing that you would note is that the flow is already complete. This is because Universal Orchestrator is a Kubernetes based product. So it's going to be really quick. All the message queuing within the product is via Kafka with a modern NoSQL DB as MongoDB in the background. So the entire product as such is very scalable and is very fast compared to traditional workload automation solution. So if I was to in fact check on the very first job, which is doing an upload into the dirty bucket, so you would notice that this is the file that has been uploaded. So if I am to, for example, get into my AWS subscription and get to the dirty bucket, I would notice this is the file that got uploaded. And likewise, the second job is doing a AWS S3 download operation again. So it's again an out of box job type for AWS S3 where I'm downloading from the dirty bucket the same file and uploading it into an in progress bucket. So this is the bucket where I'm loading it subsequently. And also I have another upload job call to upload all the AV definitions into the definitions bucket. So I have all the AV definitions uploaded into the definitions bucket. So you would notice here that all the definitions are uploaded into the definitions bucket. And in the same way, I have a subsequent job that is going to run AV scans. So I have a job that is going to call an AWS Lambda function. So this is an AWS Lambda job where I'm calling a Lambda function called scanAV, and this is performing a scan on this particular file. Now, while it's performing the scan, you would notice it's also returning the message that the scan completed successfully and there were no issues while performing the scan. So in fact, if I was to open this particular service, you would notice this is the function that we have just now called. Um, and then because the scan came out clean, we have this particular branch that is satisfied. So there are some inbuilt functions within such as JSONata, where you can look for a particular string and then take conditional branching depending on that string. So we have taken the successful conditional branching in this case and notified that this particular scan is complete. There were no issues. So the message is sent indicating there were no issues. Now this message could go out over Teams, could be a push notification in Teams, it could be an email, SMS, whatever may be the case. There's also another download job that's going to download from the S3 bucket. Now this particular job is downloading from the in progress bucket and is going to subsequently upload into the completed bucket. So you would notice that finally it gets uploaded into the completed bucket. um, so in fact, if I am to get to S3 buckets, I would notice that the file got uploaded to the in progress bucket and subsequently also to the completed bucket. Now once the file is downloaded from the completed bucket through another AWS S3 job, what we are going to do is also decompress the file, because this file in zip format it needs to be decompressed. So there's a decompression job out of the box directly from Uno, and we're also going to do a decryption of the encrypted file. So in this case it is PGP based encryption. So the file in PGP format is decrypted, and so this is the final file, decrypted decompressed file, which is also scanned and has come out clean from the external source. Now of course this particular flow can be invoked as many times. It can be invoked with an event as soon as the file arrives. This whole process can be invoked dynamically. Now an interesting point to note here is the upload job started at around 3904 seconds, or 13904 seconds, and the whole process completed in 13922 seconds. So it hardly took a few seconds. You could say it hardly took about 18 seconds to complete a flow of 12 jobs. Now typically a traditional workload automation solution takes anywhere up to 1 or 1.5 minutes to run the complete flow, whereas in Universal Orchestrator, this particular flow hardly takes anywhere between 14 seconds to 18 seconds, as I noticed through some of the other instances that were triggered earlier. And the other interesting point to note is that any application developer who is using this product would also be able to use a DevOps CI/CD pipeline natively in the product itself. So if there is a need, also he could develop a flow which is similar to the one that I'm flashing on the screen currently, where he could probably get a request in from an external tool like ServiceNow. Once he raises a request in a ticketing tool, the get request could be you could extract the info from the ticket. Anything like the ticket number, the source environment, target environment are all captured, and depending on the source and target, one of these flows gets invoked. So if the source is pre-prod and the destination is prod, or if the source is QA and destination is pre-prod, one of these branches is picked out. So everything from git initialization to setting the configuration to pulling from the pre-prod repo or QA repo, to finally creating a branch in pre-prod repo or QA repo, to finally adding the branch, to also remote adding the branch, and finally committing um, the entire application code along with the dump of all the job stream flows can be done natively from the product. And you could also do a git push of the complete application code, as well as the schedule definitions um, post the deployment. So any point of time, if you want to do the deployment, it can be done natively via the product. Also, if the push is succeeded, the ticket gets closed automatically. So you could have such pipelines built directly in the product to manage natively also the git push across different repositories. Now there's also a very good command line exposed by the product called orchestration CLI. So it's fairly easy to use. All you have to do is to generate an API key first. Once you have an API key generated, like for example, if I want to generate an API key called test1, now this is the key that is generated. So let me make note of this particular key. And once this key is generated, I can make use of it in the orchestration command line. Now, the command line itself is a utility that can be invoked directly from the desktop. I am doing it from a server here. Um but once unzipped, it's just a package that can be directly called. And What happens behind the scenes is you have a config file that is created, and this particular config file, all you have to do is to insert the API key. And once you have the API key inserted, this utility is good to go remotely, so you can connect to the environment remotely, and invoke or pick all the jobs or job streams that you want to see remotely directly. So let's say, for example, I want to do a display of all the job streams in the environment. So this is going to give me a complete display of all the job streams in this particular environment. Or let's say I want to create a dump of all the schedule definitions in this particular environment. So I'm going to create a dump. um, Let me save it in a particular file. So and I could also do it application wise. So I could, of course, the workload is completely saved in folders. So every job or job stream that you create are created in folders. So you could have application wise segregation in folders, and you could have this folder name also mentioned here in the command. Now I'm actually taking a complete dump, but you could also mention the folder name here and only get uh, application job streams pertaining to that particular application folder. So if I'm to open this particular file, you would find that this comprises of all the job stream definitions. What I could also do is, again, further expand all the jobs in the job streams so that I get a complete dump. So once I have the keyword full, I get the complete dump of all the jobs. The one interesting point you would note is the jobs are all in JSON format, so it becomes fairly easy for the app developer to understand the syntax. So as you can see, this is the URL that he's invoking. This is a get job. This is the output file where he's saving the output. So this is a RESTful job, as you notice. So you would have everything in JSON format where it's fairly easy to understand as to what is happening in the definitions. And these definitions can then be uploaded along with the application code and directly managed through a pipeline, as we saw here in this particular flow. And not just that, you could also completely create a dashboard on an external observability product like Splunk. So it becomes fairly easy for a business user to also view all the business metrics. So it's because the product exposes a lot of because the product exposes all the data in JSON format, all the job logs in JSON format. So it's fairly easy through some inbuilt functions available in the product also to expose all the metrics directly to an external observability product like Splunk. So, for example, this is a dashboard around material requirement planning where we have all the important material requirement planning metrics captured here. Like, for example, this is the current inventory level of machine oil, this is the current inventory level of MS sheet, current inventory level of polish, current inventory level of angle brackets, and you also have the MRP levels of each of these items. So the material requirement planning for each of the inventory items is also displayed here. So you have a direct comparison between current inventory levels and the material requirement planning done for the day for that particular inventory item, and this is all exposed and available directly from the jobs. You also get to know the inventory turnover ratio. So all the inventory turnover ratio for polish, for angle brackets, for MS sheets, the cost of goods for MS sheets, for angle brackets. Likewise, the inventory days of MS sheets, angle brackets is all directly exposed from the job logs. You also get to know the sell through rate. So these are metrics, business metrics calculated within the jobs, which are directly ingested into Splunk. So the number of days for which inventory would last, the sell through rate for MS sheet, for polish example. So all this is captured directly in a dashboard so that any business user could directly understand, derive insights from the data available directly from Universal Orchestrator without any need for further, doing further translation from the jobs and maybe building further interfaces in between. All of this is available out of the box. Thank you. Hope you like this video. Also, look out for more content from me in this space very soon.